Greetings and salutations, viewers. Welcome to ConnectiCon 2017 once again. I am Charles from Inspire the Muse, coming to you today with DJ Butler again.
Again, thank you, Charles, for having me. And what a great radio purr you have. That's what a voice.
I've been working on it since last year.
I'm impressed.
This time round, we even have an actual hot seat for you, rather than just a figurative one.
Perfect.
Now, last year, we were able to talk to you a bit about your series, Rock Band Fights Evil.
That's right.
Which I am now addicted to and need to buy the rest of the series.
Wonderful.
But you have also written all sorts of other fabulous stuff that we would like to learn more about.
Fantastic. I'd love to talk to you about it, Charles.
What is the latest book that has come out that seems to have been gaining all sorts of great figurative steam out there?
So I brought a copy, actually. This is not my most recent release, but it's my most recent new series here. So this is, I'll put this up in camera for a moment. This is a book called Witchy Eye, and it is an epic black powder fantasy. So word of explanation about that. This is a story of a young woman named Sarah, who's a witch. She's a hexer. She's talented. She's funny. She's smart. She's brave. She's fiercely loyal. She's also paranoid, xenophobic, and kind of mean. And the story begins on the day of the tobacco fair in Nashville in 1815, when Sarah and the other Calhoun family young'uns come down to the fair to sell the family tobacco, and a Yankee Army chaplain and wizard with his English thug try to kidnap Sarah because she has a secret she does not know. She is the daughter of the dead Empress Mad Hannah Penn, and the living emperor, her uncle Thomas, has learned of her existence, sees her as a threat to his wealth and power, and wants her dead. So it is a straight-up epic fantasy novel in many senses. It's also a quest and a fairy tale. And I'm going to hold this up. You may not be able to see it very well from the distance, but the back of the book has a fantasy-style map of America. It is set in Jacksonian, or a sort of pseudo-Jacksonian America in 1815. So I'm very excited about it. It's gotten great reviews, starred review from Publishers Weekly. Bain listed it as one of their most anticipated books coming out this year. Got a really great review from the Barnes & Noble website. So getting a lot of traction with it, Charles.
That's fabulous.
Yep.
What has the process been like for you putting this story together?
Well, interestingly, so the process for writing it was not as arduous as the road to getting published. So if I may, I'll talk to both those things. Mm-hmm. In a way, Witchy Eye is the sort of the song of my heart. I've published a lot of series. I've got kids series with Knopf that I love very much. Rock Band Fights Evil, Kreshling, and sequels. Mm-hmm. So, but this is a book. I talked to my friend Aaron Michael Ritchie, is a novelist. He and I talk a lot about sort of strategy and how to make a life and a career as a writer. And I believe in being non-fungible and writing books that you uniquely are in a position to write. And this is sort of my most non-fungible book. This is like really me. And the pieces that have gone into this book include Egyptology and the history of the 30 Years' War, and a love of the different cultures that and peoples that make up America, and a whole series of different American languages, including Native American languages and languages that came with different immigrant groups, and a love of historical figures and a desire to play with them. Benjamin Franklin is a character in the book. He's the Lightning Bishop. He's the author of the 1784 Philadelphia Compact, by which the emperor is elected and which defines the rights of the emperor. He's also the bishop he's dead now, the Bishop of Philadelphia, and the designer of the American Tarot deck. There's a tarot deck that's intrinsic to the plot, and it's designed by Franklin and has sort of esoteric messages. So there's just a lot of stuff that's really close to my heart, and essentially this is a book that emerged out of a stew of things I've been reading for 20 or 30 years.
That's really cool.
It is. Now, getting published was damn hard. Sorry, I shouldn't probably curse. I don't know who your audience is. This was very hard to get published. So I was represented. My first agent was a pretty big name New York agent, and he had picked me up to represent me for a middle reader book. And while he was shopping, and I showed him Witchy Eye, and he read it and said, I think this has legs. This can be the next big thing. Here are some comments. I said, okay, great.
Cool.
And I took the comments and I gave him back the book, and he sat on it for a year and then dumped me and said, I just don't have time. My wife and I subsequently went out and got offers for other agents to represent stuff we'd written together. And we had an agent at one point who said, I'd like to represent all the stuff you both write. And I said, great, here's this book, Witchy Eye, to take a look at. And 3 days later she wrote and said, I retract my offer of representation.
Ouch.
And then I picked up my agent, Deborah Warren, East West Literary is my current agent, and I picked her up, and she's terrific. And she got a sale for me right out of the gate, which is wonderful. You know, it's the kind of the success story after many years of failure, and then the success was sort of sudden. And we met to celebrate the sale, and I said, you know, I had this other book. And I told her about it. She said, well, it's kind of large. Would you consider rewriting it as a YA book and splitting it up? And I said, yeah, I understand. That sounds good. She said, well, why don't you send it to me to read? And I didn't send it to her because I didn't want to write it as a YA book and break it up into 3 pieces. So I just sat on it. I had given it to Tony Weisskopf, who's the publisher and chief editor at Baen Books. And I gave it to her after meeting her in February of 2012. And in February of 2016, I got an offer to publish a trilogy from Tony. So this book lost me 2 agents.
Jeez.
And it took me 4.5 years of going out and shopping it. I could have self-published it. I chose not to. The book deserves a bigger audience. I could have published with Wordfire Press, and I said no. It needs a bigger audience. Needs a bigger platform. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited because this is a thing that I really love very much. That took me 5 years to bring to readers, and I've just written book 2, and I'm very excited about that one as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that the agents that just failed were just not up to the task. They couldn't handle the awesomeness of this book.
That's probably true, and I will be I'll be the big person. I will not rub it in their faces when I see them. No, this is revenge fantasies of writers are petty, but of course I would love to become a bestseller and have them notice and feel sad, but I won't try and draw it to their attention.
I am excited to get a copy of this book because it looks fabulous, and I plan to do so later. But I was also curious, if you have a few minutes, what have you been doing with Rock Band Fights Evil lately?
Oh, well, Rock Band, see, now this is right to my Achilles heel. So I am delinquent.
Oh, dear.
I am delinquent. Yeah, Rock Band Fights Evil is up to 7 episodes. So this is the ongoing saga of a rock and roll band of damned misfits. Eddie Marlowe is a guitar player in the band. In classic form, he went down to the crossroads to sell his soul to Satan, to become the world's greatest rock and roller, and neglected to specify an instrument, and therefore he is the world's greatest tambourine player who ever lived, right? Jim, the singer, is Satan's son. He cannot speak. He cannot speak in ordinary conversation because if he does, his father will hear them and find them. He's on the outs with his dad over a woman who's in hell, and Satan won't let her out. But he can sing because music is the gift of heaven to the angels, and it's what the fallen angels have walked away from. So he only expresses himself in song, and in his, of course, impeccable swordplay he learned from Cyrano de Bergerac. So it's this kind of this band of, there's an outcast fairy, there's a narcoleptic sorcerer, there's a bass player who is haunted by the ghost of his dead brother whose death he caused. So it's this band of misfits with a plan to try and get their redemption by effectively blackmailing Satan using a fragment of his hook. So it is up to 7. Honestly, it should be beyond that by now. But the combination of sort of day job pressures and life have just slowed me down. But it's on my schedule to pick up this year. I will tell you, book 8 is partially written. Now I don't know how far you've read. You've read through the first 3?
I purchased the first 3 last year, and I am wanting to purchase the rest because I had such a fun time reading them.
Oh, that's the idea here. Fun, fun. Okay, so I don't want to give you any spoilers, but I will tell you that things go very bad for planet Earth right around the end of book 6. Right about the end of book 6. So book 8 is set in Chicago. It is about an effort to build the Tower of Babel out of junk cars, and Eddie's effort to save his wife and children who are trapped in Chicago, in a Chicago that has become a sort of hell ruled over by Yamayol, one of the bull-headed, the big minotaur fallen angel, one of the fallen. So that is actually partially written. My goal is to get 8 and 9 out before the year is over.
So maybe by next ConnectiCon we can discuss them.
By next ConnectiCon, hopefully we'll have the first 9 out of what is scheduled to be 12. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. There's a scheme at work here.
I am all
There's
in.
a scheme. Cool.
For our viewers out there, where can they find all of your fabulous books to purchase?
Oh, wonderful. Well, so Witchy Eye, actually, if you walk into your local bookstore, it's very likely you'll find it. It's at about 80% of the Barnes & Nobles I walk into have copies, and a lot of the indie bookstores too. Most of the rest of what I write, you're going to need to go online. So Amazon or Barnes & Noble will sell it. An easy place to find it all collectively is my website, which is davidjohnbutler.com. John with an H. davidjohnbutler.com.
Very cool. I encourage all our viewers out there to go check these books out, purchase them, read them, and then post in the comments below what you thought of them so we continue the conversations. And of course, hit that subscribe button so you can see all the other crazy shenanigans we get up to while at conventions, because you gotta have shenanigans. And until next time, go read a book, go have some fun.